good afternoon. Welcome to the Pit Stop. I'm Stephen McCollum. Every week we look back at the racing from last weekend and ahead to racing this weekend, which means Talladega's up here on the NASCAR side and IndyCar, at least moving forward here for the next month. We're getting towards Indy 500 at the end of May as well. But of course, we always start the program by looking back at last weekend. So let's do that. And we'll start with the IndyCar here as well. Of course, we're here every week looking back and ahead until the playoffs begin for NASCAR. We switch to a twice a week format at that time as we get a little bit more in depth. But IndyCar last weekend back on the track after a couple of weeks off. IndyCar was at that traditional fun little track, beautiful track if you follow that at all, over at Long Beach last weekend in California. Here, now stop me if you've heard this before, but he had to get some luck here as well in this race. Alex Palou gets the break he needed, and his pit crew did extremely fast work. That allowed him to get out there and run away with the victory on Sunday. And, you know, the fascinating thing about this is he needed that pit stop in order to get that win as well. Palou did earn his third victory in 5 races this season. So although it's been a quiet 3 victories with the way his season is, we'll say has started, he's still 3 out of 5 races this season there, and it's dominating fashion starting to show up as well. That's also Alex Palou's 22nd victory of his career and his first win only at Long Beach here as well. That's why I didn't pick him last week, as I know he struggles here at this racetrack, or he has traditionally. Boy, is that down by the wayside here as well. The interesting thing is he didn't dominate this race at all. He needed that pit stop at the end, but he ended up finishing first place, getting on that podium ahead of Felix Rosenqvist as well. Alex Palou won the race by 3.9663 seconds when all was said and done. Palou also took the series lead in terms of championship points that we'll look at here in just a little bit. He is now 17 points ahead of Kyle Cookwood here, who has been the championship leader the last couple of weeks as well, for Alex Palou finally getting back into that first step. Of course, he lost that here in Phoenix when he crashed out in that early race wreck here at the Oval here in Phoenix early on in the season, the second race of the season here for IndyCar. Rosenqvist, as I told you, controlled the race from the green flag. He led the first 31 laps. Palou climbed from his third starting spot. He went to second there. He passed Pato Award on lap 2. I was thinking politics there for some reason. But yeah, lap 2 easily got into that second spot. Well, Rosenqvist and Palou did pit for the first time in tandem. That was at the end of lap 31. Then they switched some tires around, right? Rosenqvist won the race out of the pits at that point, but both drivers started their second fuel stint with their mandatory second set of alternate tires. Alex Palou did talk about how he struggled with these tires on his car. We'll hear from him in a little bit. Rosenqvist did build a 3-second lead over Alex Palou, and he admitted he struggled, as I said, a bit on the softer Firestone alternate tire, and we'll hear his words on that here coming up. But Palou did get the break he needed on lap 57. Large piece of debris on the track, which caused obviously the only caution period of the lap. And IndyCar lately has been very good at no yellow caution flags on the race, or limited ones. And there's only one in this race. Yep, and it came out late and actually helped Alex get back into this race. The entire field pitted on lap 59, obviously led by Rosenqvist, who was in first place, and then Palou there in second. And then that's where the pit crews had to come in here, and it ended up looming larger than you thought here in this pit stop. Rosenqvist and Palou both took 4 primary Firestone tires and also fuel at that time. Well, the speed of the Alex Palou camp allowed him to exit his pit box ahead of Rosenqvist and take the lead for the first time in the race, and he just didn't relinquish it at that time. So 7.3 seconds on that final stop. Well, for Rosenqvist's car, it was 8.4 seconds here for his stop. 1.1 second difference here. Got, you still have to go out and race, but basically got Palou into the front and allowed him to never trail from that point on. This was a fun, exciting race. Got to see what the strategies out there, and so much so. Let's show you here. Let's go to Fox here. Show you the race to the finish here. IndyCar 1, please.
30 years ago at this circuit, Chip Ganassi won for the very first time with Jimmy Vasser. Alex was told this weekend, Jimmy's here. He's going to be watching. Alex's retort, I guess I'd better win then.
Jimmy won yesterday as a team owner with his Lexus team. Today, Alex Palou doing it for Chip Ganassi.
One of the few tracks on this calendar on which Alex Palou had not yet won. He will right that wrong today. Alex Palou returns to victory lane and to the championship lead. Victory for Alex Palou.
Let's go! Thank you, boys.
Rosenqvist home in second place.
And just the excitement from a guy that's done a lot of winning over the last couple of years is kind of fun to hear as well. Well, let's check in, right? 'Cause we talked about the tire concerns that he had and the way that pit stop went. Well, let's check in with Alex Palou after the race, IndyCar 2.
Alex, you ticked off a lot of boxes last year, winning on an oval, winning the Indianapolis 500. We think this is the second biggest race. What's the significance?
I agree. It's huge. It's huge. Super proud of everybody's job, but especially these guys, this crew that gave me the win today. The Open AI car was super, super fast, but it was that yellow. It was that pit stop with all the pressure that these boys were able to do it and execute it perfectly. So yeah, from there it was just managing the tires. We didn't know how the primaries were going to be, so incredible to finally win here at Long Beach.
Running second most of the way, what was your level of confidence you could eventually get him?
It was close. It was very close. I was struggling a little bit on the soft tires. I was a lot more confident on the harder tires at the end. I don't know. I think we would have been really close. Who knows? I think Felix was doing a hell of a job. I could see that he just kept going. Thank you,
awesome, man. Awesome.
Thank you. He kept just doing more mileage than us and going fast. So it was going to be really, really tough for us to beat him. But yeah, we did.
Congratulations. Alex Palou wins in Long Beach.
I love that. He's like, it would have been very tough, but hey, we did it. Whatever, right? And move on. But look, this was a struggle for him to get this win, and obviously there's a lot of disappointment here with Rosenqvist's side of it. He had the pole in this race, led a lot of the race as you just heard, but ended up finishing second. So could be some disappointment here in this race and how it finished. Let's check in with Felix Rosenqvist as well after the race, IndyCar 3.
End of the day, it's great. Tough start of the year. Came back here, tried to bounce back, got a pole, P2. A little bit of a bittersweet race. I'm not sure exactly what happened. We lost a little bit in the stop. Alex is obviously going to be 10 out of 10 almost every stop, so I don't think it was necessarily that our one was slow, but they probably had a great one as well. But anyways, that's how it goes. Big thank you to Acura, Honda, and Green Day. I loved rocking this livery. Maybe we'll do it again someday. And end of the day, we got to celebrate this one. P2, lots of points, podium. That's where I want to be.
Thanks, Felix.
Isn't that amazing? Does not get the win, but keeps the perspective there of finishing P2. Lots of points in doing so. Of course, starting on the pole as well for him. So it is interesting how some guys wear their emotions on their sleeve. He's happy with that finish there, P2. Obviously, disappointing he didn't get that first spot, but on the podium and from there. So kind of surprised by that angle there by Rosenqvist, but good for him with that attitude as we go into the end of the racing here at Long Beach. Of course, Indianapolis 500 month is coming up, so maybe that's what your focus turns to. Let's throw up the finishing order here. IndyCar 4, it's going to be the top 10. As you know, Alex Palou there in the first spot, Felix Rosenqvist in second. Scott Dixon finishes up in third. Kyle Cookwood, man, he's had a great season for him. Finishes in fourth place. Pato O'Ward. Pato O'Ward is an interesting case this year. I've talked about it on previous shows here around IndyCar. He's doing enough to get the win, but he's not getting the win. He's finishing just off the podium, fourth, fifth place, pretty much consistently all year long. I know there's been one or two races he's been farther back, but his is coming. He's coming with a victory here, I think, coming up. Scott McLaughlin there in sixth place. David Malakis, seventh. Graham Rahal in eighth, who had a fantastic weekend there at Long Beach for Graham Rahal. Alexander Rossi, excuse me. And then Kiffin Simpson there finishing up in the 10th spot. And I'm telling you guys, Pato Awards win is coming, or at least the podium finish is coming shortly. He's just barely missing it to get on that podium. Josef Newgarden, other guys were paying attention to, ended up finishing 14th in this race. For big name guys that you're kind of looking at, Santino Ferrucci, friend of the show, of course. Talked to that AJ Foyt driver here when they were in Phoenix and did the interview. Finished 18th at this race as well. Will Power still continues to struggle a little bit here. He's had a couple of good finishes, but finishing 19th here this weekend in Long Beach with his new Andretti Global team after leaving Team Penske last year for him. So I don't know. Is his season going to turn around? I just don't know how it can moving forward here for Will Power and that team. So now that we got the finishing order in here, as we're going into Indianapolis 500 month, is the month of May. Well, championship points, IndyCar 5, please. And, of course, we'll just give you the top 5 guys. Alex Palou does get the number 1 spot here over Kyle Kirkwood, who did have the lead here the last couple races. Very nominal point difference. Kyle Kirkwood continues to play and race the way he does. He'll catch Alex, especially with a couple victories here. David Malakis there in third spot. Pato Award, I told you, his season, from most people's standards, has been excellent. Just hasn't been able to get that victory or podium up into that podium consistently, just outside of it. But he's in the 4th spot here in the championship standings. And then Christian Lundgaard here wrapping up here in the 5th spot for the IndyCar. And they're racing here as well. The next race here for IndyCar, now they have a little bit of breaks coming up. We've seen that after their frantic beginning to the season. Well, they're going to race in the Sanzio Grand Prix. That's coming up Saturday, May 9th, coming up. Well, that's going to kick off the month of May at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's going to be on the road course there of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 14 turns, 2.439 mile road course. Then after that, you got the oval there at Indianapolis with the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500, May 24th as well. There's actually 3 races in May. There's one on May 31st in Detroit. But obviously the focus now is on Indianapolis here with 2 races coming up, a couple weeks off, and then 2 races coming up here in Indianapolis as well. By the way, the next 2 races, Indianapolis 500, but then also that Sanzio Grand Prix on the road course there at Indianapolis. Alex Palou did win both of those races last year. So the big expectations coming here, not just for him, but who can beat him coming up as he's starting to get more and more dominant out there. So we'll take a couple weeks off of looking at Indy here until they get back on the track on May 9th. So, but Long Beach, fun little race for them. They had some scoring issues, some software issues around IndyCar that allowed a bunch of teams to, restart using that data. They did address it and say it's on them, not on the drivers, so no punishments are coming. So there's some controversy around Long Beach, but fantastic viewpoint there of that. And if you go to @IndyCar on X, just scroll down a little bit, and you'll see some in-car stuff there. And you see what the drivers see while they're driving down the shorefront road there and everything. It's a beautiful view there for those IndyCar drivers, certainly for the fans as well at Long Beach. So now we move to Indianapolis in the heartland of the country, but we also had some racing on the NASCAR side, of course. O'Reilly and Cup Series at Kansas Raceway. In Kansas Raceway, the 1.5-mile track, you expect the speed to happen. You expect some green flag pit stops to come into play, like it did there at Long Beach with IndyCar, where it took a stellar 1 second faster pit stop to get the win. You expect that a little bit here going into Kansas. And, well, it happened right away here with the O'Reilly Series because the first of the front runners to pit during that final 95-lap green flag run there at Kansas in the O'Reilly Series, well, it allowed the driver to pit first to end up getting the win in the O'Reilly Series. Of course, we're talking about Taylor Gray. He grabbed the lead and held off, Sheldon Creed there to keep the win. It all stemmed around that pit stop, the timing of it, how fast it was, the timing of it, and just get out in front. This is Taylor Gray's second NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts System series victory of his career for him. So second win. It's amazing to see. So if you don't know what happened, Taylor Gray pitted on lap 143, the 200-lap race. Sheldon Creed, Brandon Jones ended up taking over the lead when Taylor Gray did go in on that pit stop. Were in the lead as well. Well, they were running first and second, even up to lap 146. Well, they decided to pit at that point on lap 147, and they came out about 3 seconds behind Taylor Gray because he had pitted about 4 laps before them. Well, during that pit stop for the leaders, Sheldon Creed and Brandon Jones, Brandon Jones won the first 2 stages, had a dominant car this weekend in terms of speed. Well, he had to serve a pass-through penalty because of a tire violation during that late pit stop. Obviously, no chance to win at that point with the pass-through. So that just leaves it down to Sheldon Creed, Taylor Gray, for instance, here, and even hard-charging Justin Allgaier, who I picked to win this race this weekend, got into play as well. So Sheldon Creed, Justin Allgaier behind him in the third spot, obviously trying to pursue Taylor Gray there. They did come up short because Taylor Gray won this race at 0.718 seconds ahead of second and third place there as well. You want to see, this was just an exciting battle here till the end after this pit stop strategy, and let's show it to you here. Now, CW gives us these videos as they are the host or the site there for the O'Reilly Series. Let's go to the CW, to the checker. O'Reilly won.
Oh, the stress.
He's on the wall. He's doing it.
The stress, the anxiety of trying to hang on for a victory. Sheldon Creed giving it all he's got down the back straightaway. Turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Some lap cars ahead, but they shouldn't play a role. Taylor Gray off of 4, back to the start-finish line. He gets his second career victory at Kansas Speedway.
That man right there made an excellent call.
Hey, it's a team effort. Team effort by Team 54.
Jason Ratcliffe, you are the man.
I mean, you hear that. The driver's calling out his crew chief, just making that pit strategy that got him to the win there. He was able to hold off a hard-charging, a very fast car in Sheldon Creed. He was able to hold off Justin Allgaier, who has dominated this series this year as well, all because of the pit strategy to get in first and stay in front after that as well. Let's check in with Taylor Gray after he climbed out of the car. Again, thanks to CW. Here's O'Reilly 2.
Yeah, first of all, thank you to everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing, Twitter Racing, Operation 300, and how about Jason Ratcliffe, man? That big call was awesome. I knew we had a car capable of winning. I thought the 20 was a little better than us in stage 2, before the green flag cycle, sorry. But you just had to stay locked in, right? And needed to be a little bit freer. Jason made a really good adjustment on the car, a really good pit call, and got us that clean air. So yeah, I can't thank everybody enough. But yeah, it's been a long start to the year, man. Not that we're not bringing speed to the racetrack, it's just things haven't really gone our way. So it's nice to finally be able to close one out.
I mean, you just heard it there as well. It's not about bringing speed to the racetrack for this Taylor Gray team. It's not. It's just getting the race completed and not have issues happen out there. And it fell together with them with this pit maneuver. And he keeps saying, Jason Ratcliffe. Crew chief making that decision gets you to that win. That's fantastic as well. What strategy can come in to overcome the speed of the other guys out there. As we told you, Sheldon Creed there just couldn't catch up to him. He ended up finishing second in this race. He did have reason to celebrate, though. He did finish first among 4 eligible drivers. He earned that $100,000 Dash for Cash bonus. It was the first time in his career, in 5 chances, by the way, he was able to win that $100,000 bonus as well. So let's just check in with Sheldon Creed after the race. He had a fantastic race, could have won this thing. That pit stop there, and Taylor Gray getting in front kind of kept him from it. Let's check with how he feels after the race. O'Reilly 3.
Yeah, a great day for us after starting in the back, and I kind of knew right away my car was really fast, and yeah, I was able to drive to the front and just had a lot of fun today in my Road Ranger Chevrolet, and just appreciate everyone that's supporting us this year. Hendrick Engines have been awesome. Appreciate Gene Haas and Haas Automation, Joe Custer. Just, yeah, everyone that's been supporting us. It's been a really good start to our season. It's been a lot of fun on track. Fast cars are fun to drive.
So, he had a very successful day, and you could see finishing second, starting in the back, finishing second in this race. Kind of like Rosencrest, right? In the IndyCar. He's just happy with the finish, even though obviously would like to win it there, but happy with the overall finish at the end as well. Let's throw up the finishing order here as well. Interesting enough, right? The guy that dominated this race in terms of leading laps, Brandon Jones, we told you what happened to him. That final pit stop, had the tire violation, had to do the pass through. Ends up finishing, for him, ended up finishing 8th in this race after leading this race 67 laps. Then you got the Sheldon Creed, Taylor Gray, the winner, second place, both leading 48 laps in this race here to battle it out there at the end. Justin Allgaier in third spot. Didn't lead runs in this race, but was there at the end with the third place finish. Jesse Love, the reigning champion on this circuit, finishes fourth here as well. Brent Cruz, the young up-and-coming driver here, ends up in the fifth spot for him as well on this race course. So, now when you lose one of your drivers on lap 2 where his car flips over, talking about Salwich as well here. I'm sorry, Carson Kvapil here in this race flipped his car basically in lap 2, beginning of lap 2. Obviously out as the pole sitter here. He would have had a fast car in this as well, but he gets knocked out early in this race in terms of playoff pictures. And guys, we're looking at obviously Carson Kvapil's okay after his car flipped there early in this race, and he's able to get there at the end as well. The CW, well, they do a great job with their video coverage here, and I appreciate them letting us use that. But they earned 1.18 million total viewers for the Kansas race over the weekend. Now it's the Nelson panel plus big data. Every time they do something, it's always the most watched whatever right now as they adjusted their ratings. Everything's coming in bigger. So it's going to take a year here to get to how they actually work out. But it was the most watched Kansas race in 3 years. Since 2023, by the way, on NBC at that time. Viewership was up 12% compared to last weekend's same race. That race last year, the same weekend, well, that was at The Rock, Rockingham, for their Easter weekend on the CW. The race peaked at 1.291 million total viewers from 9:15 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern, so 6:15 to 6:30 out here on the West Coast as well for them. Now, Carson Kvapil, of course, flipping his car over there at the beginning of the race. Parker Retzlaff also out of this race with the accident. Well, it's kind of a shakeup here in the championship points. Taylor Gray winning this moved up, I believe, 6 spots here in the championship points. Let's throw that up here in the O'Reilly series. So O'Reilly 5 here, please. Appreciate that. Justin Allgaier, look, huge lead with his wins here in the O'Reilly series after 10 races. 520 points. Well, second place there's Sheldon Creed has 389 in that second spot. Reigning champion Jesse Love in the third spot. Corey Day in the fourth. Brandon Jones, even though disappointing end to this race with that tire violation, looked good out there the rest of the race. Finishes fifth. Sammy Smith in sixth. Carson Kvapil down to seventh spot here with his last place finish after winning the pole and unfortunately getting his car upside down there in the end of lap 1, beginning of lap 2. Austin Hill, we're going to talk about him with Talladega coming up here in that 8th spot. Taylor Gray, as I said, huge move up for him. He was outside the cut line going into this race, but winning a race, you get a big bump. In that 9th spot now, inside. William Salwich in the 10th spot. Parker Retzlaff finished second to last year. Got knocked out in lap 2 there with that accident. Finished is in that 11th spot. Roger Caruth there in the 12th spot, but 25% points up over that 13th, the first spot outside the bubble, outside looking in. Ryan Sieg with that 25 points behind by Sam Mayer, Brendan Poole, And then Brent Cruz, as I said, the young driver, making a run here with his top 5 finish, getting into that 16th spot. 64 points out from the cut line, but making a name. A few more runs like that, he'll be in the conversation for a win as well on the O'Reilly Series. So, interesting weekend here around the O'Reilly side. I enjoyed the Kansas racetrack so much. It's a fun racetrack. The 95 laps in the O'Reilly Series of green just means the pit strategy comes involved. It did. You saw a win off of that. And it's whether it's a win or a loss, I love to see the strategy come into play. Next up, though, we got Talladega on Saturday. So everything you know about racing out, strategy can come in. Strategy can burn you. Just other team strategies can take you out. But we'll talk more about this weekend coming up at Talladega later in the show when we look ahead to this weekend's racing. Because we're not done with last weekend yet at Kansas, right? Just stop me if you had this down at the beginning of the season. Because, folks, you did not. Yeah. How did Tyler Reddick's day go? I mean, obviously he won this race again. They're going to rename the trophy here the Tyler Reddick Trophy if he keeps winning like this. But Tyler Reddick scraped the outside wall in the closing laps. His fuel system stumbled there with right before the overtime wreck happened to cause the overtime. He collided with Christopher Bell in the overtime restart as well. He fell behind. Kyle Larson, who's not only a championship race coming into that, won Kansas last year and had a really good day there with speed there at Kansas. On the final restart, was able to get up and pass him. All that said, Tyler Reddick, he won at Kansas Speedway in overtime. He doesn't care of all the problems that he had on this racetrack and issues happening out there. He just went out and snatched that victory from defeat on Sunday. How did we get to overtime? Well, wait till you hear Denny Hamlin's comments afterwards, but I agree with him here. Cody Ware's spin on lap 266. That was scheduled to be the last lap of this race. Well, he spun on lap 266. He caused the third caution of the race, 1 lap after Denny Hamlin had retaken the lead from Tyler Reddick at that point. Denny Hamlin was going to win this race until Cody Ware spun around. Yeah. At that point, Tyler Reddick has switched to pump 2 in his Toyota Camry after his car sputtered with 2 laps left to go. This spin by Cody Ware sent the race into overtime. Denny Hamlin was winning this thing until that happened. All 16 cars on the lead lap did come to pit road for tires. So Hamlin, Reddick, Larson, Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, and 5 other drivers behind them took right side tires only to get back out there for this green-white checker restart. The overtime restart on lap 273. Well, Larson steered to the inside of Hamlin on the bottom row, charged up there and got the lead. Well, Reddick actually fell back because he ran into Christopher Bell's car up against the wall, the 20 there. Forced Bell into the outside wall. Bell had to come down. Well, that left an outside lane open for Tyler Reddick, and he took advantage of it. He did a huge run in the top lane, drove to the inside of Kyle Larson, whose car tightened up on the quarter entry. There at the end, Reddick cleared Larson through the final 2 corners, crossed the finish line 0.118 seconds ahead of Kyle Larson. How exciting was this finish, folks? It was an exciting one. I just explained it to you. I don't know how of a good job I did. Let's go to the experts here, right? The Fox crew here, and look at the overtime racing to the checker, Cup 1.
Oh, Hamlin gets a great restart, but he's got no pusher.
Almost too good. Watch Larson. Here he comes. Larson looking low and gets there. He and Reddick will battle. Block that 20 on the outside. Missed the block. Reddick. Bell with the head of steam on the outside. Gets hit by Reddick. Bounces off the wall. Holds on but denies Hamlin. Clear track for the 5. Kyle Larson. Coming around. Still green. Coming to the white flag. Now, if the leader takes the white under green, the next flag ends the race.
Yeah,
One car spins at the entrance of pit road, down on the apron. White flag's out. Leaders head into turn 1. Reddick with a huge run to the bottom of the racetrack. Track is clear. Here comes Hamlin on that outside. Oh, he's in the fence. Look at Reddick. Race is on down the backstretch, Mike. Toyota Chevy up front. Here comes Briscoe with their sport tires. Third on the inside, digging hard. Reddick slides up in front of Larson, and the pole sitter is going to come to the line for win number 5.
What a great job by Tyler Reddick. I thought he had no chance.
Fantastic. That doesn't get more exciting, at least. If that was just a regular finish, then you get the overtime finish racing there as well. Christopher Bell up into the wall, of course, with Tyler Reddick there, coming down, pretty much taking Denny Hamlin out of the race at that point. Keep in mind, Denny Hamlin already had that race won until Cody Ware spun out on top of that as well. Then you got Chase Briscoe making a run, as you saw there in the red car there behind Kyle Larson, as Kyle Larson's car got kind of tight on him there, with Tyler Reddick passing him from that side. Fantastic amount of racing with all the drivers having the same setup with the fresh tires on the right side after those pit stops there as well. Look, Tyler Reddick's done a lot of winning this year. 5 out of 7 wins for him. Well, let's check in with Tyler Reddick after the race. Cup 2.
Yeah, just really blessed with the late caution. How about that? Was that nuts or what? Woo! I couldn't believe it. I mean, first off, I feel like I have to say, obviously, just for how I feel, and I never like being on the other side of it. Really hate that for Christopher Bell. It's good, hard racing. 11 came up, and I took off tight. So not thrilled. I got Christopher there. I hate that for him because he's having a good, solid day. So, man, it's just these late race restarts, it gets really, really crazy there. And obviously, I had to run on the 5, and I was just shocked I was able to get to his inside there. So just an incredible supply house, Toyota Camry, all day long. So, yeah, it was really thankful we got that late caution.
I mean, he's not wrong at all, right? Just shocked he can get to the inside of Kyle Larson like that on the run. Very apologetic for the Christopher Bell situation. I mean, Denny Hamlin came up on him, and I don't know what you can do in that situation as well. But Tyler Reddick's the first driver since Dale Earnhardt back in 1987, folks. Yeah, also only the 4th driver of all time to win 5 of the first 9 races. I said 5 of 7 earlier. I meant 5 of 9 races of a season there in the NASCAR Cup Series. He's doing something that hasn't been done since 1987. Only 4 guys have ever done it. Tyler Reddick, 2311, which is co-owned by Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, as you saw there. And Michael Jordan's ecstatic when they interview him there on Fox. It is amazing to see his excitement as well. Kyle Larson, on the other hand, he led 78 laps in this race. He won the second stage as well, was just going it, but he could not hold on to that lead in overtime, as you saw there. Let's go to Larson after the race, Cup 3.
When it all worked out like that, I was like, oh, great, clean air. And then I went through 3 and 4, and I was plowing, and I was nervous. And then I could tell he had a huge run on me behind, and thought, maybe if I could get to the banking, it would load and cut, but it didn't. So, he was really good right there. And I was just hoping to be better. I was happy to get to the lead. The restart worked out great. But anyways, we got lucky with the caution, too. So, good day. I think second in the first stage, first and a second in the race. So, we're getting closer, really close there. But, we'll keep trying.
I mean, Kyle Larson hasn't won in a long time. I picked him to win this race because he won it last year. Needs a win. Yeah, he's right. He is getting closer. He's right there at the end, which I do find a little ironic as well because he won that championship last year by not being the best car out there. Denny Hamlin was, and was able to sneak out the win from Denny Hamlin because of some stuff happening on the racetrack. And now it's kind of happening to Kyle Larson here as well, like in this race coming up. So it is interesting to see that dynamic out there. Let's throw up the finishing order here as well. We know Tyler Reddick here. This is Cup 4. Tyler Reddick at number 1, Kyle Larson second, Chase Briscoe with a really good 3rd finishing spot here. Denny Hamlin ends up in 4th after kind of getting knocked down there by Christopher Bell with those issues. Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick's teammate, having a fantastic year quietly. He's not getting the wins out there, but he is, I think, every race except for 1, maybe 2. Bubba Wallace has been up there in the top 10, definitely in the upper part of the racetrack here. Finishes 5th here in this race. Brad Keselowski finishes 6th. William Byron in 7th. Chase Elliott in 8th, Ty Gibbs, then Chris Buescher. Of course, Ty Gibbs coming off of his win last week as well. It's just some notes here. Christopher Bell, who led those 47 laps, he spun coming to that white flag in overtime. Well, he ends up finishing 20th after that incident in the overtime for him. And then there's Hamlin, right? He read the race high 131 laps here in this race. Told you he was poised for the victory. He was winning that race when Cody War spun and NASCAR threw that yellow flag out. Kind of bad luck for him, for Denny Hamlin, as he ended up finishing 4th in this race instead of winning it out there. Dominated the race there, but I mean, Kyle Larson, 78 laps, as I said. Tyler Reddick, only 10 laps led for him as well. Some other guys led, Chris Buescher led 1 lap. Carson Hocevar led 6. Daniel Suarez led that lap as well with some pit stop stuff happening. As I told you, Christopher Bell, 47 as well for him. But utter disappointment, right, for Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin's a guy that wears his emotions on his sleeve coming into this race. He was facing a lot of questions about some comments he made on his podcast, Actions Detrimental Toward Kyle Busch. He said nothing wrong, in my opinion. I'm not touching on it here on the show today. He was pretty blunt about it. Kyle Busch just doesn't have it anymore, and the team he's on isn't very good. He said it more succinct than I just did. Kyle Busch came back this weekend and kind of harped on him about it. So he came into the race with those issues. Then leads this lap and everything, not able to get that race. Cody Ware's spin out. Denny Hamlin wears his emotion on his sleeves. You don't believe me? Well, here's Hamlin after the race, Cup 5.
I mean, obviously it's not winning. It's Cody Ware 6 laps down, wrecking. I don't know. It just added up. It's just, I fell for the same move that the 5 got me a couple years ago when I was on the inside. And so I got to learn from those mistakes that I'm making and not executing those last few laps.
Did you get into the wall?
Yeah, I had a big run off turn 2, 19. I think it was probably on 4 tires there, and so wasn't a whole lot of room, but I wasn't going to lift, and I just got in the wall, but it didn't really affect the finishing position.
I mean, what do you do when a car? Cody Ware, 268 laps in this race. The lead guys won 274, multiple laps down. Spins out there, cost Denny Hamlin that win that he was going to do. Only 3 cautions in this race, but the one caution was huge at the end of it that kind of decided this race and allowed Tyler Reddick a chance to get that win, which he ultimately did as well. Let's look at the championship points here in the Cup Series. This, of course, is Cup 6. Tyler Reddick, no shocker to you. Another victory means another distancing himself here in that number 1 spot over Denny Hamlin as well. By the way, Denny Hamlin's not a teammate of his, but he is an owner of his 2311 team. But Denny Hamlin there in second place with the 352 points. Ryan Blaney quietly at 337 points this year. Ty Gibbs made a big jump with his victory last weekend. Well, here at Kansas didn't get as great of a finish as he'd like, even though it was in the top 10, I do believe, if I remember right. But in the 4th spot in points, then you got Kyle Larson. 5th spot for him. Then Chase Elliott, the Larson teammate there, Chase Elliott. In 6th spot, William Byron. 24 car coming back, and he's in that 3rd spot. Bubba Wallace, I told you, Tyler Reddick's teammate there with 2311. Quietly having a good running season. He's in 8th spot here for Bubba Wallace here in the playoff points after 9 races here as well. And then Brad Keselowski, Christopher Bell, Chris Buescher, RFK there in the 11th spot. Carson Hocevar in the 12th spot. Ryan Preece, 13th. You got Joey Logano, Chase Briscoe with his 3rd place finish here in that 15th spot. Daniel Suarez in the 16th spot as well. Shane Van Gisbergen, well, he's back down on the outside looking in. I've told you guys all season long, Shane Van Gisbergen has the potential if he runs oval, and he was running ovals pretty well to begin this season. Well, I told you he's got a chance to make the playoffs with his street racing. finishing first or second on the street side of things, if his racing on the ovals keeps raising where it was. Well, on Sunday, he finished second to last year behind Cody Ware, Shane Van Gisbergen, as well. About 4 laps down for him, SVG did here in this race. So he falls below the cut line now, and he's going to need these oval wins to get into, or oval good finishes to get into the playoffs with winning street races this year. Ross Chastain and Michael McDowell, they're wrapping out 19th and 20th. Outside looking in as well. So I know it's early, but there's some question marks here around the championship points, of course, here on this side. So ratings for the NASCAR Cup race there at Kansas, well, it drew 2.926 million viewers on Fox. Well, that figures up 26% from the comparable 2025 event. Last year it aired on FS1. This was on Fox, by the way. It aired and it averaged 2.319 million viewers last year for that comparable weekend. This audience represents the most watched spring race at Kansas since 2016. Keep in mind, everything is most watched, everything is record with this new Nelson plus big data reporting that they do have out there as well. Next up, obviously, for the Cup Series, just like the O'Reilly Series, Talladega Super Speedway this weekend. Interesting enough, Tyler Reddick just won at Kansas again, 5 of 9 this season. Well, Reddick won the spring race last year at Talladega, or won the spring race at Talladega at 24. Was that 2 years ago now? Tyler Reddick did. So just a little interesting side note as we get into this weekend coming up at Talladega as well. After the break, we'll look at some news around the sport of NASCAR. We'll get into the weekend at Talladega as well. IndyCar's off. Truck cars are off again. Well, we got to talk O'Reilly and Cup at Talladega. And don't forget, this is the stages that they're reversing here as well. So some new intrigue going into Talladega this weekend. Let's get into the news. Look ahead. Come on back. It's the Pit Stop. At the Pit Stop, I'm Stephen McCollum, and don't forget to follow us on X as well. The Pit Stop Talk is where you can find us. Of course, we put out the postings throughout the week while we're doing the shows. Shows come out mostly on Wednesdays, occasionally on Thursdays here as well. One show looking back at last weekend's racing, ahead to this weekend's racing as well. We appreciate you joining us, and if you can't tell here, right, we usually put the show up on demand only, and we record it. Oh, we're throwing it up live here this week. We're testing out some things here on YouTube. So it's live on YouTube here this week. Don't expect anybody to know it as we put it out there. And not a scheduled recording time. We just kind of do it when we feel like it. Kind of see how it just goes. But folks, catch it on demand on YouTube at TME Media AZ is where you can find it on YouTube, whether live here or on demand. All of our programming is on demand on YouTube and on Rumble on demand as well. We utilize the real Matrix, as you just saw that commercial, the Angry Patriot. He wants you to come into his show with an open mind. Just be willing to be open minded and question things that he brings you. Well, that show's on Rumble, along with all of our other programming on demand is Rumble as well. Rumble.com/user/TME Media there on Rumble for you as well. On YouTube, it's TME Media AZ. On social media, the Pit Stop Talk is where you can find us for that. Of course, you got the main event, McCollum on Business, main event live here at Robat TV, 8 to 10 a.m. And then on demand on Robat. Everything's available on Robat as well, TV, if you're have the subscription there, and then of course YouTube and Rumble as well. Free podcast systems here on the Pit Stop. If you have to listen to us, well, just search the Pit Stop with Steven. Pops right up for you there as well. You can listen to us there on your favorite podcast system, YouTube, Rumble. We're everywhere for you to find us as well. We're taking your guys' suggestions on where our programming should go and where you'd like to listen to us at. So definitely reach out. If there's any possibility, text us 623-252-6670. DM, of course, or hit me up on the Pit Stop Talk for this show or any of the sites, and we will see it and take it into consideration. And we just appreciate you guys following us, liking and subscribing our programming as well. And let's keep it rolling here with the Pit Stop as we get into the news side of things. There's been every April 1st, right, for April Fool's Day, there's always conversations and jokes around NASCAR's doing electric vehicles. NASCAR's doing this with electric vehicles, and they're going to get rid of this car and bring an electric car in. This isn't an April Fool's joke, folks. NASCAR's R&D unit is building its first electric vehicle. Yeah. It's constantly meeting with incumbent and prospective OEMs also to come on board. NASCAR is evaluating the potential of one day using its crossover utility vehicle EV in a second-tier O'Reilly Auto Parts series to give that division a better brand identity. It's also planning to experiment with a hydrogen combustion engine within the next 5 years to kind of bring some variety to it. And I'll say this, don't mess with the O'Reilly series. The O'Reilly series in a lot of races is actually better than the Cup Series racing a lot of the times. Come out with a different tier if you're going to do an EV racing or something to that effect, or have a one-off race. Don't ruin the O'Reilly series with this, but folks, that is a legitimate story. It is not one of those April Fool jokes you saw earlier. Cletus McFarland fans, he's not racing at Talladega this weekend. That wasn't cleared by NASCAR. They want to see him on shorter intermediate tracks, with more experience before he gets on a racetrack like Talladega. So he's not racing this weekend like he had planned, but Cletus McFarland is going to return to the O'Reilly series with RCR, Richard Childress Racing. He's going to do that at Nashville Super Speedway. He's going to drive the number 33 Chevrolet then as well. So for those of you that are following Cletus, there's his next race, at least in the O'Reilly side of things as well. Tire testing this week at Chicagoland Speedway. Well, it's been there a couple days this week. It's continuing on Wednesday, this April 22nd as well. The test is serving as an early step toward NASCAR's return to Chicagoland Speedway, coming up July 3rd through the 5th here of this year. Been a while since they've raced at Chicagoland. ARCA Menard Series, the O'Reilly Series, and the Cup Series will all compete at Chicagoland for the first time in 7 years coming up. So they're doing all the tire testing there and lets the drivers feel the tires, give feedback as well on what tires should be used. And that's going on here this week as well for Chicagoland, as they're getting ready to go back there after it's 6 years only. It feels like it's a lot longer for Chicagoland, but I also lose track of time all the time as well. So, hey, enough of the news there. Let's get into some racing this weekend coming up. Look, IndyCar's off. NASCAR Truck Series is off again. So let's look ahead to the O'Reilly and Cup Series here coming up at Talladega. We're going to Alabama this weekend, and some stats on Talladega if you don't know. Track size, 2.66 miles. It's the biggest NASCAR in terms of the track size. This is a behemoth racetrack. Baking in the turns, 33 degrees. All four of them are equal, 33 degrees in all four turns. Steepest banking in NASCAR. Go ahead. Go look up 33%. Tell me how you feel about that. The banking on the front stretch is 16.5 degrees. The banking on the back stretch is only 2 degrees at that point. The front stretch is 4,300 feet. The back stretch is 4,000 feet. That's the longest in NASCAR as well. The bottom line here is with these steep angles, and they will race 4 wide here, 3 and 4 wide here. The story around Talladega, though, is always expect the unexpected going into this weekend. This is going to be a fun racetrack. I enjoyed Talladega. And hopefully now with the changes in the stages we'll talk about on the Cup side, hopefully it brings back even more excitement here coming up instead of fuel savings as well. We'll get into how unexpected the Cup Series here is in just a minute. But first, let's talk about the O'Reilly Series. Qualifying for these guys Friday, no practice at super speedways, but Friday, April 24th, 2:30 to 4 p.m. here in Phoenix, 5:30 to 7 p.m. Eastern is the qualifying for the O'Reilly Series. Then you get into the race on Saturday morning as well. Here, 4 p.m. Eastern time, so it means 1 p.m. Phoenix here. Of course, that's on the CW, like it always is here coming up as well. Austin Hill shouldn't shock you. He's a defending race winner here at Talladega. And here's the other side of it. He's looking to clinch 3 consecutive wins here at Talladega as well. Austin Hill loves these drafting tracks. Loves them. But he's going to have some competition. 4 other drivers. Taylor Gray, Sheldon Creed, Justin Allgaier. We'll even throw Jesse Love into that mix. Obviously, deservedly so. They're going to contend to win the race. But those guys are battling for the $100,000 in the third of 4 Dash for Cash races this season. So there's more than just winning this race on the line. Sheldon Creed won it last week, the $100,000. Who gets it this week between those 4 drivers? The best finishing driver is the one that wins it. And the winner this week is simple to me in my mind, folks. Generally, we don't go with the guys that dominate in terms of a circuit out there. But Austin Hill dominates so much on these drafting tracks. He just doesn't lose, it feels like. He's won this race last 2 years. He's defending champ. Looking for his 3rd in a row. You can't pick against the best driver on drafting tracks. Super speedway tracks. You just can't. Austin Hill win this. Austin Hill's going to win it. I'm going with Austin Hill this week. Until he loses it and somebody's able to beat him, we're just going with Austin Hill, folks. I'm not even going to mess around with somebody else. Now, expect the unexpected. Accidents occur, could get wiped out early, and things to that effect. And wait till you get to the statistics here on the Cup Series. No shocker, you have to start good here, but you don't want to be in the middle or the back in case something big happens. You'll get wiped out on that. So you need some speed there as well and get up front and some experience. On the O'Reilly side, and Austin Hill has that experience. On the Cup side, how unexpected or how do you pick a Cup Series race when 11 different Cup winners have won over the last 11 races at Talladega? Doesn't get more unpredictable than that, does it? Qualifying for the Cup, guys, is Saturday, 10:30 to noon Eastern time. Of course, don't forget qualifying. Well, it's on Amazon Prime here for the Cup Series all season long. So 7:30 to 9 a.m. Phoenix time. So wake up, watch some qualifying there in Talladega there in Alabama. So the race is Sunday here for the Cup. 3 p.m. Eastern time, which makes that noon here in Phoenix or on the West Coast. Green flag will actually be around 3:20 p.m. Eastern, so 12:20-ish as well. Of course, on Fox as well. We're kind of rounding up the Fox time frame here in terms of the NASCAR races as well. And don't forget, this is the race where NASCAR changed the stages on this race to combat the fuel savings concerns that have developed at these drafting tracks. Guys run at 3/4 throttle. They don't push anything. They just kind of sit out there so they can push the gas fuel mileage and not have to go in for green flag changes. Well, this is where NASCAR changed it. The stages now end on lap 98, lap 143, and lap 188. That means that the first stage is 98 laps. The second and third stage are 45 laps apiece. You'll be able to make the end of this race under your fuel without pitting here on 45 and 45, or be close to doing so. So instead of having, earlier where you had short, long stages, long, short coming up here for these guys as well. How do the new stages change this race and affect it? We know previously on these types of racetracks, well, fuel consumption came into play hugely in this. Does fuel consumption still be there? Does it change the way of the race? Do you see more guys going for it here in racing in the front? That's kind of the questions we all have, of course, going into this race as well. And we won't know until we actually see the race begin here coming up. There are active pole winners here, meaning guys that are on the tour right now in the Cup Series that have won the pole. There's 7 of them right now. The interesting thing about it, right, this is where you get the unexpected side. Michael McDowell's won 3 poles here at Talladega. 24, he swept it, both races there. And 25, he won the pole for one of the races. Michael McDowell, 3 poles here at Talladega. Christopher Bell has 2. He won them both in 2022. In that year, both races. Chase Elliott has 2 as well, but you got to go back to 2016 and 2019 for Chase Elliott to get his numbers. Zane Smith won a pole in 2025. Zane who? Zane Smith? Zane Smith won a pole, folks, last year. Denny Hamlin did one in 2023. Austin Dillon in 2019, and then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. did it back in 2017. Here on this program, we don't really factor in stuff that hasn't happened since 2020 timeframe. And certainly next generation cars is a timeframe to kind of pay attention to out there as well. So we do have some pole winners here to be good attention. Active teams this weekend with the pole winners. Obviously, you're dealing with some specific guys, right? Hendrick Motorsports leads it with 13. Now, these go way back into early, late 90s and things to that. They haven't won a pole, though, since 2019, Hendrick Motorsports. I also don't expect them to win one this weekend. The drivers within Hendrick just don't do well at these types of racetracks in terms of speed and pole position, etc. So I don't expect anything there. Wood Brothers Racing has 6 poles. Again, last one was 2004. Put them aside, obviously, for multiple reasons, including not being in the Cup Series anymore. Richard Childress Racing, RCR. Well, you got to go back to 2019 for their last pole. They have 5 of them here. Put them aside. Kyle Busch and guys are not winning the pole this weekend. Joe Gibbs Racing, though, I told you Christopher Bell has a couple. They have 4 total, and they're more recent. They have one is back in 1998, but obviously the 2 wins in 2022, the 2 poles, and then 1 in 2023 for them. RFK Racing, they have 2. One goes all the way back to 1989. I'm sorry, they have 3. 1989 sweep. But again, we don't factor those in. But they did win one in 2017. Again, outside of our window of 2020. Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher weren't on this team, obviously, back then. I'm not sure they're going to win the pole this weekend either. But Front Row Motorsports, swept in 2024, won a pole in 2025. They're in contention for a pole this weekend. Spire Motorsports, they got one in 2025 as well. And then Team Penske, you have to go back to 2000 for them to have the pole in terms of the team. So what does that say for Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney? Well, probably not going to be on the pole this weekend. Active organizations with wins at Talladega. This is an interesting statistic. Hendrick Motorsports. Now, a lot here in 2000s, but Hendrick Motorsports has 14 wins here. If you erase the ones from 88, 96, 97, 2000, 04, 05, 06 sweep, 07 sweep, 11, 15, 19. Yeah. 19 and 2022 are the last 2 that, count for what we're facing at this weekend, Hendrick Motorsports. They do not do well in this racetrack, especially with this group of drivers recently. RCR, Richard Childress Racing, has 13 wins at Talladega. They have 1 in 2023, then it goes farther back into 2011, 10, and even farther back into that. But they do have one in 2023 that they're looking at. Penske, little bit different. 2025, they can't win a pole here, but they won here at Talladega in 25, 23, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16 swept, 15, 14, 12. Penske has success in the race, even though not on the pole side of things. Joe Gibbs Racing has 6 wins here. 2025, of course, they won one. 2020 they did. Then they go to 14, 08, and then, of course, 98. We kind of discount there. But lately, 25 and 20, they do sneak a driver up there for some winning. RFK hasn't won since 2017. Wood Brothers not winning this weekend, I'll just tell you that. But they haven't won since 2080. 23-11. Tyler Reddick won this race in 2024. They also won it in 2021 as well, Bubba Wallace. 2 wins for 23-11 on a hot streak right now. Bubba Wallace is running well. Tyler Reddick, obviously running really well with his wins out there as well. Trackhouse won this race in 2022. Struggling these last couple of years, but Trackhouse has won this recently. Front Row Motorsports, well, it's been since 2013, kind of out of our window. There you go, right there for them. So I'm not factoring them into this at all either. Active drivers to win at Talladega, if you want to just look at the statistics side of this race. Brett Keselowski actually has 6 wins here. Now, of course, co-owner of RFK racing for that team. Well, he's run this race in 2021, 2017, 2016, 2014, 2012, 2009. Now, he hasn't won here since 2021. I don't expect him to win this time. Does he have a chance to do it? I think so. Experienced driver can get there. It is a long shot, though, in my eyes. Now, my question on Team Penske is Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano. Do they have a chance this week? Well, Ryan Blaney won this race in 2023 and 2020 and 2019. Ryan Blaney, with his experience, being there at the end, avoiding some big calamity out there, Ryan Blaney's got a chance to win this race. He will be there if it goes well for him on that racetrack. Joey Logano. I do think Joey Logano has a chance to win this race for the same type of reasons as Ryan Blaney. He's a longer shot to me, though. He hasn't won here since 2018. 2018, 16, and 15 last time. For some reason, he gets knocked out he gets in the back of these racetracks, or in the front, middle pack, or the back at some point in this race, and just gets knocked out at some point, or just stays back there for Joey Logano. I think that'll probably happen again for him. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has 2 wins here, folks, 2017 and 2024. For Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to win, he just needs to be in the front at the end, avoid everything else, and just squeak through. That just comes down to experience. That comes down to a little bit of luck. That's what Ricky Stenhouse has to rely on to get there. Kyle Busch won this last in 2023. His team is running awful. He's upset about everything. He doesn't like the way people are talking about him. Excuse me. I don't think Kyle Busch has a chance this weekend. But can he be there at the end in the front with something happening and he's able to sneak the win? Absolutely, that's possible with Kyle Busch. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Chase Elliott, again, Hendrick Motorsports. They won this race in 2022 and 2019. I don't think this is the race for him, though, to win here coming this weekend, unless, again, he's just there at the end and squeaks it out toward the end as well. Denny Hamlin hasn't won this race since 2020. Not his type of racetrack either. Chase Briscoe won it in 2025. Austin Cindric won it in 2025. And that's where the unknown comes in with those guys out there as well. Tyler Reddick, of course, once in 2024. Ross Chastain in 2022. Same type of a situation for Ross. Just be there at the end. Something happens and he gets the win. Only chance he's got. Bubba Wallace, though, won this race in 2021. He's been running in the front, folks, quietly. Bubba Wallace is 5th, 6th in this racetrack. Something happens on the last couple laps. Boom, he's right there in the front and is going to win this thing. He's right there to get this win. So a lot of question marks here with a lot of these drivers that are running top 5, top 10 all year. They could be toward that end if they can just avoid anything happening to get that win out there as well. Starting from starting position and wins, no doubt about it here. Interesting thing. If you're in the top 10 starting position here at Talladega, you win 68% of the time. You need to be in the top 10 to win this race. Yeah. Not even close. Outside of the top 20, you only have a 7.96% chance to win. You need to be in the top 10 in qualifying to win this race. You want to dial it down a little bit more, top 5 starting position, 50.44% winning percent. You want to be in the top 5 to win this race, 50%. Front row has a 31% if you finish on the pole or second spot. Closer you are to the front here with the way this goes, part of that is in the front, you can avoid a lot of nonsense behind you. Kind of where you want to be on this racetrack when you get going out there. Here's the question. Who's going to win the pole this year? We've gone through all the statistics and everything that we are looking at. High bankment is what we're looking at going into this race. I'm going to go with a guy here. Now, he's not going to qualify well. He'll be in the top 10, but he's not going to be on the pole, I don't believe. I'm going to go with a guy that, no expectations to win this weekend because of the qualifications. Now, we do this show before qualifying happens, obviously. So if he has a terrible qualification, I'm going to look like a moron. Ryan Blaney is going to win this race, folks. He's just going to be there and be there and be there. Something's going to happen toward the end, and he's going to sneak up to that front. If it's not Ryan Blaney, I do believe it's going to be a surprise winner. Keep your eye on Bubba Wallace this weekend, though, folks. He's running to 5th, 5th, 6th, 4th in this race and is just quietly there. Something happens at the end while guys are pushing it to try to get up to the front to win this thing, and he's behind them, and they get out of his way, and he's able to finish this race. That's the thing you just don't know. Is somebody in the 8th spot going to win because top 7 guys screw something up at the end? It's going to be a fun race here at Talladega this weekend. The stages are the wild card this weekend on how guys are going to run. Are guys more aggressive here earlier in this race instead of waiting till that 3rd stage? Are guys pushing a little bit more in stage 1? Is stage 1 just a fuel-saving stage? But stage 2 picks up. See how many guys get knocked out with damage and things to that effect as it goes on. I'm going Ryan Blaney to sneak this out with his experience and the way that he runs on racetracks out there to get the win up this weekend as well. And folks, this is going to be a fun weekend here with Talladega. And it's the only thing to focus on with IndyCar off and the Truck Series off this weekend as well. It's going to be great to race here. Coming up, and I'm looking forward to it. There's nothing more exciting to me than these drafting tracks when they're not fuel saving. As I said, if you're new to NASCAR or you're not as in depth of as a lot of fans are, no problem. I'm not knocking you for it. You're going to watch this race and enjoy it because they're going to be 3-4 wide at times, and you're going to watch this happen, and you're just going to be like, "What are they doing?" It's a fantastic watch, regardless of your expertise around NASCAR. But for those of us that watch it a lot, diehard guys, we want to see them open those up a little bit more. Get back to the old ways of running at these super speedways and drafting tracks. Hopefully we get a little bit more of that this weekend. I'm not expecting it the whole race. I'm expecting it in the 2nd and 3rd stage with the stage changes. To change that happen. To change that, a good change here as well. They're not messing with the cars in the middle of the season. Just switch the stages and see what happens. Let's see what happens, folks. When we come back next week, well, we're going to be looking forward to Texas Motor Speedway coming up as well. IndyCar will be off again next week. Then the Truck Series will get back in line at Texas Motor Speedway as well. So that'll be next week's show as we look back at Talladega ahead to Texas. Folks, it's going to be a great weekend of racing. Everybody have a good time out there. Share us with your friends. Would you like and subscribe the YouTube page, the podcast, everything for us? We'd appreciate it. Hey, we'll see you next time here on The Pit Stop.